Hi everybody, in this lesson we're going to be looking at a type of verbal reasoning called related numbers. Okay, so yeah, I think I've explained this before. Don't be too surprised to see numbers in verbal reasoning. We tend to associate verbal reasoning with letters and words, but numbers are absolutely a part of verbal reasoning as well. Okay, so there is no mistake. It feels a bit weird, doesn't it? But it's completely normal to work with numbers in verbal reasoning. So, as usual, I'll go through the first one all by myself, and maybe the second one we can go through together, and then on the third one we're going to give it a go all by ourselves. Now, this type of question, it's the only reason it becomes difficult sometimes is because the process that we use to solve the answer always changes. So that requires really good reasoning, right? In other words, we can't rely on one rule, one relationship, one technique. You'll see what I mean in a second. We kind of have to adjust the way we think for every question, right? So take a look at the question. It says, decide how the two outside numbers work together to form the middle number. So what it's asking us, right, is to decide how these outside numbers, so 24 and 10, work together to create the number 14. And how do these numbers, 108 and 12, work together to form the number 96? Now, they will have the same logic, the same reasoning, the same relationship exists between this one and this one. The same thing is going on in both of them. Okay? We need to be sure that we can apply the same workings out to both of them, and if we can, we do the same for this one. So I'll go through this one, right? Let's get rid of all this working out. I want to know how I can use 24 and 10 to get to 14. How is it that 24 and 10 work together to get us a number 14? Now, this one's quite straightforward, isn't it? Please don't draw on the screen, Chrissy. This one's quite straightforward because I noticed that we've got 14 here, which is exactly 10 lower than 24. And 10 is the number over here. Okay? So 24 take away 10, right, is 14. But I must make sure that that logic works for the next one as well. Okay? So here, all I'm doing is subtracting the right number from the left number. Okay? I'm subtracting the right from the left. So let's go over to the middle one. Does it work? If I take 12 away from 108, am I left with the number in the middle? Yes, I am. If it's more comfortable for you, you could do the inverse, couldn't you? In other words, is 96 plus 12 108? Yes, it is. Okay? So we already know how these numbers are working together. It's simply a case of subtracting the right number from the left number. So 23 subtract 15, and that would give us 8. Now, that might have felt quite easy, and it's deliberate. As you'll probably be aware by now, when we start off looking at example questions, they tend to be a bit easier and get harder as the lesson goes on. The reason for that is so it's easier to explain what it is you need to do, okay? But they're not all going to have straightforward relationships, okay? So we need to really think about these sorts of questions. So let's do the next one together, and then we're going to do number 3 alone, all by ourselves, independently. Guys, if your name isn't your name on the Zoom chat, like if you've got a different name, I don't know who you are, so I can't ask you. So if you do want to get involved, make sure your Zoom chat name is your actual name. Okay? So the next question is on the screen. Okay? So we've got 38, 3, 4, 2, and 9, 13, 65, and 5. And I need to decide how this number and this number works together to give us this number. But remember, the relationship must be the same over here. Okay, so let's start with Scarlett. Okay, Scarlett, have you noticed anything? I haven't given you a lot of time, so you can sort of like talk through it if you like. How might you start this question?
So I think so if 65 would be the result, then 13 times 5, I think you might have to multiply it
Okay,
because 13 to 65 is quite a big difference.
good. I love that you said that. So before you continue, Scarlett, so you said something really important, which is 13 and 5. If we look at the middle number 65, that's quite a big difference between those numbers. So it's not going to be a case of just adding or subtracting. There might be something else involved, and multiplying might seem like the obvious thing. So okay, Scarlett. So how can we check to see if we're correct?
You can do 13 times 5, which we don't need to do the short multiplication, because if 12 times 5 is 60, that means you just have to add on 5, which would be 65.
Fair
So
enough. All right, cool. So we
that,
multiply them, but that must also work over here. And this one's a bit trickier. So how can we check 38 times 9?
this one you should try and do the short multiplications, right?
Okay, do you want to talk me through it?
So 8 times 9 is 72. So you put the 2 there and the 7 on the bottom. Oh, you do at the top. Okay.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, bottom or top, whatever you guys are used to.
And then 3 times 9 is 27. And add 7 would be 34.
Perfect. So we do know that they're multiplying. So what's the final task here, Scarlett?
3 times 101, which would be 303.
Perfect. Very good. Well explained, Scarlett. Brilliant. And if anyone else noticed that, very good. Now, so the first question we had was dealing only with subtraction. The second question we had, the one we just did then, was multiplication. There are going to be some questions where you might even have to do more than one operation, okay? But we'll talk about them one at a time. It's a bit like, remember how we spoke about letter series recently, and we said that the way we can get from one letter to another letter, there's like unlimited options. Add one, add two, back two, back three, add 10, back five, you know? There's so many things we can do. It's the same with this sort of question. To get from one number to another, there are lots and lots of methods, lots and lots of things we could do. So open your mind to all sorts of processes and operations, okay? So take a look at this one and let me know in the chat box what you think the answer is. This is a tough one. Kasima, you are wonderful. Amazing, Annabelle. Well done, Chrissy. Perfect, Hannah. Guys, this is impressive. This is really quite impressive. Perfect, Jordan. Perfect, Ava. Never apologise, guys. If you can't do it, don't have to say sorry at all. Just keep trying, it'll come. Okay, 10 seconds. I'm going to ask someone on the list who I know's got it correct, okay? Because I don't really want to. I don't. If you haven't answered, I don't want to pick you because that puts you on the spot a bit, doesn't it? But I will come to you. I'll come back to you once you've answered. But let's go to Annabelle because I know I've got a correct answer from Annabelle. Okay, Annabelle, what is the answer? But most importantly, how do you know?
So I think the answer is A. So how I found out it was A is that I checked what was 26 minus 10, which is 16, but that's not the answer in the middle. And then I tried adding them, which is 36. But at first, I thought it was wrong. But then I checked the next one, and I also did 30 at 20, which is 50. And then I thought that both of them, if you subtract 6, it would become the answer. So what you have to do is add both of the sides and then subtract it by 6. And I did 7 at 10, which is 17. 17 subtract 6 is 11.
That's really, really impressive, Annabelle. It's really, really good. And if you got that, great. If you didn't get it, please do not worry. We've got a few of these, and honestly, practice is what we need, and then you'll get better and better. Okay. But what a great explanation. So, remember what we said a minute ago, that sometimes it's not a case of just adding or just subtracting. We kind of have to sort of manipulate these numbers in any way possible until we arrive at the middle number, right? So, like Annabelle said, the wisest thing to do first is to add them, because that's going to get us close to 30, isn't it? And she said, well, she noticed that it was 36. And what I really liked about what Annabelle said is she didn't stop there. She didn't think, right, it's 36, it's wrong, let me try something else. Instead, what she did, which was quite clever, is go to the next one and see what happens if we add those two together, which is 50. And then, because she did that, she was able to notice that they both have a difference of 6. So 36 is 6 more than 30, and 50 is 6 more than 44. So there's clearly something going on here. So we need to subtract a further 6. Yeah, so we add outsides together, and then we subtract a further 6. So we must use the same rule for the final one. So we add the outsides together, 7 and 10, which is 17, and then we subtract 6, which gives us 11. So as you can see, guys, there aren't really many rules here. As long as we're dealing with those two outside numbers, in terms of operations, in terms of how we use those numbers, there aren't any rules. As long as the rule is the same for all three of them, that's all that matters, okay? So let's give the next one a go. Here we go. Give that a go, guys, and I'll speak to you again in a minute. I'll talk quietly because I know you're trying to work this out, but these sorts of questions are a fantastic way of building your your mental mathematical agility, because it really makes you think of all sorts of ways of dealing with numbers. So it's definitely worth practicing this. Guys, I'll go to you if you're correct. Okay, Ira, if you're correct, Ira, yes. If you send me a correct answer, then you're next. Okay. I just don't want to pick anyone who hasn't sent an answer, because I don't want to put you on the spot. That's correct, Scarlett. That's correct, Ava. Guys, please send your answer once. Guys, when you need to send your answer just one time, okay? Just once. I promise you. If I don't acknowledge it straight away, it's only because there's quite a few answers. But just send it once, okay? Perfect, Chrissy. Perfect, Hayden. All right, 10 seconds. That's correct, Ira. Okay, shall we go to Ira? Now, if you didn't get it correct, if you're still trying to work it out, no problem, okay? This is definitely one of the question types that gets easier the more we practice it. So you've just got to keep at it, and it will become easier, okay? So, Ira, you have got the answer correct. Did you guess, or can you explain?
When you said 10 seconds, I felt like I had to guess, but then I figured out the pattern, and then I used that pattern to figure out the answer.
which is?
Which is 19.
And how do you know?
Because I found out that if you add the two outer numbers together, which is 8 and 2 and 20 and 10, the middle number is half of that. So to figure out the answer, I added 19 to get 38. And since I added them together, it means, and they're both the same number, it means that the answer must be 19. We've given ourselves the answer.
Perfect. Yeah, well explained, Ira. So if you're a bit confused, watch carefully. I'm just going to say what Ira said once more. So what Ira did is she added the outside numbers. That's always a good place to start, isn't it? Sort of either adding or subtracting them to see if you can work it out that way. So 8 plus 2, sorry, gives us 10. And then immediately, you probably notice there is a relationship between 5 and 10. Okay, so we'll keep hold of that whilst we go through the next one. So 20 and 10, if we add those together, we get 30. That same relationship has occurred. 10 is double 5, or 5 is half of 10. And 30 is double 15, or 15 is half of 30. So we just need to do the same thing again. We do 19 plus 19, which is 38. And then obviously, if we halve it, we're going to arrive back at 19. Okay? So the answer is, of course, 19. Well done if you said that. If you didn't, do not worry. Let's keep going, okay? So take a look at this one. This is a tough one, isn't it? I expect many of you are going to guess this one. Gossamer, please, can you only answer once, please? Oh, well done, Scarlett. That's correct. And I love that you said that you know you're right. Let's look at a few more answers. Jordan, perfect. That's correct. Just looking at a few more answers, guys. Let's have 15 more seconds. Okay, so remember, I can only ask you if your hands up and I know that you've got the answer correct. If your hands are up and you've got the answer correct, then I can ask you, yeah? So, don't be offended if I don't pick you. I just don't want to put you in a pickle, that's all. Okay, Gossamer, I can see that your hand is up and that your answer is correct. So can you talk us through it?
So I noticed that the pattern was, so you do 1,000 take away 10, divided by 10, which is 100, and then you take away 10 again, which is 90, and then 20 divided by 2, which is 10, take away the 2, which is 8, so 35 divided by 5 is 7, take away 5, which is 2.
Wow, very good. Very, very good. Very well explained. That's a difficult one to explain as well, so you did an amazing job. So, if you are still a bit confused, even though Gersma just gave us a wonderful explanation, I'll explain it one more time because that one's tough. Listen really carefully, okay? So, what Gersima said is we divide by this number and then we subtract by this number. We do both. Remember what I said at the start? We can do multiple operations. So we divide by it and then we subtract it. So 1,000 divided by 10 is 100. Subtract 10 from that gives us 90. And look, that is the middle number. We'll do it again. 20 divided by the outside number is 10. Subtract 2, because it's the outside number, gives us 8. So we must do the same thing for our third set. Okay? So 35 divided by the outside number, so 35 divided by 5 gives us 7. Then we subtract the outside number, so 7 take away 5 gives us 2. So the answer is 2. Yeah, if you got that one, really, really good. Very, very well observed, because that was not easy. That's not easy at all. So fantastic. And once again, do not be upset or worried if you find this tricky. But before we go any further, let me just quickly say that if you do want to practice more of these after this lesson, with your parents' permission, go to Google and write related numbers 11 plus. Just write that. And you'll see that there are loads and loads and loads of resources. Loads and loads and loads and loads and loads. Okay? So there's honestly so many practice sheets. And it is one of those question types where practice does make perfect. Okay? Alright. Let's give this one a go. I'll speak to you again in 1 minute, guys. Okay, where's my... I can't see your messages. Give me a second, guys. Ah, here we go. Alright, perfect Ava, that's correct. Perfect Theo. I think we'll go to Ava next because she's highest in the list. And a correct answer. Perfect Florence. Perfect Jordan. Well done Harry. Well done Hannah and Chrissy. Well done Emma. Well done Hayden. Alright, 10 seconds. Alright, let's go to Ava. Ava, how did you get your answer?
I think the answer is E, 50, because you do 5 add 1, which gives you 6, and then you timed it by 10 to get 60. Then on the next one, you do 6 add 4, which is 10. And then you do 10 times 10, which gives you 100. And then on the last one, you do 2 add 3, which gives you 5. And then you timed it by 10 again to get the answer 50.
Amazing, fantastic. Well done, Ava. Very good. Really, this is really good, guys. Yeah, really, really good. It's not easy. And again, if you argue with me and say yes, it is easy, you've got to remember it's not. It just means that you're working really well. Yeah, and you work really hard. Okay, because it is a tough question. Because like I said at the beginning, there's so many sort of ways we can manipulate numbers. Loads and loads and loads and loads of ways. So you're doing a really, really good job, guys. Let me just quickly say it once more, even though Ava's explanation was perfect. For anyone that's still a bit confused, watch carefully. We add the outside numbers to get 6, and we multiply our answer by 10 to get the middle number, 60. So let's do the same for the next step. So outside numbers, we add them. We get 10, we multiply by 10, we get 100, which is the middle number. So the same rule must be applied to the final one. Add the outside numbers, multiply by 10. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Multiply that answer by 10, we get 50. Okay. Right, next one's our final question. Before I show it to you, put everything you've got into it, guys. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Do not worry. Focus when I go through it, okay? But try not to message me and say I don't know, or you know, it's too hard, anything like that. I get it, yeah? I know that it's difficult sometimes, but use that time to have another go, yeah? Because you can, I promise you, you know, you can do it. You can do it. And even if you don't manage to get it right, we're just going to keep practicing and you will get there, okay? So, final question, guys. Give this one a go. Annabelle. Was that guessed? If not, that's brilliant. Gersimar, brilliant. It was guessed. No problem. Do you know what? Sometimes we have to. Sometimes we have to. Gersimar, was your one guessed? This is a really tough one. Oh, you mean no? It wasn't guessed. Perfect. Harry, perfect. It was a good guess. Fair enough. You know what? Why not? Sometimes we guess. Jordan, you got it correct. Was yours guessed? Or do you want to explain it? Let's have another 15 seconds, guys. I'm just going to wait to see what Jordan says. If he didn't guess it, then he can explain it. Let me know in the chat box, Jordan. Was it guessed, or do you... What is it? Sorry, what do you mean yes? Oh, no. No guess? I don't know what you said. I'll come to you in a second, Jordan. If you don't want to answer it, it's alright. Oh, not a guess. Alright, we'll go to Jordan in a second. Really tricky, this one. Really, really tricky. So do not beat yourself up if you didn't get it correct. Like I keep saying, it's just a case of practicing, okay? The more we practice, you know what it's a bit like? It's a bit like learning, you know when you learn a new language, and it seems really difficult at first, because there's so many words to learn, so many words to know. But suddenly, I know a few of you have learned new languages, when you get to like halfway through learning it, things just seem to click. Do you know what I mean? Like things just seem to make sense, right? It's the same with this. If you practice quite a lot, eventually what happens is you just know what makes sense. You just know what it is you need to do, what operations seem to fit best. Okay, so it is all about practice. Let's go to Jordan. Jordan, how did you get the answer?
So I did it 48 divided by 4, well, which is 12, and then 12 minus 4, which is 8. And then for the second one I did 12 divided by 3, which is 4, and 4 minus 3, which is 1. Which works for both of them. So I did 2 divided by 2, which is 1, and 2 minus 1 equals -1.
1 minus 2, yeah, perfect. Well done, Jordan. Very well explained as well. So I'll explain it once more, even though that was a brilliant explanation. So if you're still a bit unsure, listen really carefully. So what Jordan said is he got the outside numbers, or the left number, and divided it by the right number, and then subtracted the right number. So again, we've got 2 operations: divide by the right number, subtract the right number. So if we do 48 divided by 4, we get 12, and then we subtract 4, we get 8. So we're doing 2 operations with the right number, yeah? So 12 divided by 3 gives us 4. Subtract 3 gives us 1. And then 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. And then subtract 2 gives us -1. So a really tough one to finish on. But like I said earlier, Google, with your parents' permission, 11 plus related numbers, and practice this more, okay, if you're feeling a bit unsure about it.